Political maven, well-dressed, rivaling Cornelius in well-dressedness tonight, which is just, I'm honored to be here just to witness this.
That's right.
And he's our punctual pothead. Let's hear it for Ross Miller.
No way. I love this. I love that you got the two different, you got like the bright light over here, this is like what I'm saying, and then you got over here, this is what I'm thinking, right? It's like, I love that. That's kind of cool. Like, yeah, man, you guys like the suit? I've been unemployed and I thought, man, I want a different job, so I'm going to try and be a pimp. What I'm thinking, trouble with being a pimp when you got no hose, being a pimp doesn't mean shit. Where do you get hose from, you know? I got one curled up on the side of my house that apparently wasn't what they were talking about. Oh man, I wasn't here for the Valentine's show. Did you guys have a good Valentine's Day?
Yeah.
Ladies, you got flowers?
No.
No, man. Blowjobs are like the male equivalent of flowers, right? There's nothing we like more, and we don't expect it's going to last real long. It's just like flowers. For me, buying flowers, it's very combination being cheap and broke. Flowers are not in your future if you're dating me. My brother's like, well, why don't you just go to a cemetery and just steal them off the grave? I'm like, you can't do that. Because when you're leaving the cemetery, you need a story why you still got the flowers in your hand. Take it from an empty room in the hospital, man. Because then as you're walking out, they're like, well, where are you going? You're like, she, They don't even want to get involved in that train wreck, man. You're home with those. Take out the card because you got to explain, hey, the station's pulling for you, Rocky. You got to explain that to your wife. What else happened? Man. Thought I saw a butterfly. I looked closer at it and it was a margarine fly. Can't believe it's not a butterfly. Sometimes I think these things in my head, my brain's like, man, that shit's funny, go say it. And then I say it and it's like, I'm going home. All right, here, let me get one that you will get. I thought I saw a pussycat. And I realized I was at a strip club, there was nothing cat about it. All right, yeah. I was trying to find a home. What else did I have in here? For my political portion of the show, you heard Ann Romney crying. It was the media's fault that we lost. They kept repeating the stupid shit we said. And if you're going to get up there and talk about, I like firing people. I drive a couple of Cadillacs, you know? Come on, man. Yeah, it's all the media's fault that you didn't win, sure. It's not that your party was like the pro-rape party. That had nothing to do with it, I'm sure. It's all right. And then they actually had a headline that said that the sequester, you know, the Wall Street is still like, you know, at top dollar, even with the sequester. It doesn't seem to be affecting Wall Street at all. Isn't that something? The cuts that are supposed to affect the poor and the middle class aren't bothering Wall Street. Go figure, I'm shocked. I don't know that shit. And what else? There was also in the news, really weird, there was a local girl here, Natasha Hill. For $5,000, she auctioned off where the internet is going to name her baby that's going to be born in like a month. Yeah, I'm sure little shitfuck Hill's going to be thrilled with that name. What do you think they're going to call him, you know? And then, even no matter what the kid's name, it's going to be a crappy name. The kid's going to get up, how come I got a crappy name? And the mother's going to be like, well, you know, for $5,000, I let these strangers I've never met before, that are usually sarcastic and angry most of the time, they named you. I don't know. It's just weird. I don't know. You know, they changed the pieces in Monopoly recently, you saw that? Just one piece. They took out the iron because, I don't know, Apparently that doesn't count anymore. I never understood the pieces. What was the dog for? I always thought it was supposed to be stuff like money, right? Like the boot was people put money in their boot, hat, you stick your money in your hat. The military stuff was we spent a lot of money on war. What was the dog for? I never understood the dog. You want like modern day stuff, it should be like, you know, a tattoo gun, a stripper pole, a crack pipe. You know, this is how people sink their money into. Let's do it right. Does people play board games anymore? Do you? All right, that's good. I love board games. I can't find anybody to play with because they're like, dude, you're a nerd. Get away from me. You know, growing up too, it's I come out here looking tough all the time, you know. But I was never a tough kid. I'm still not tough. I prefer to talk than fight, you know. But growing up, man, you have to fight when you're in elementary school. Shit just happens. And I always got my ass kicked, except once. I just lost it. And I remember closing my eyes and I just threw punches. And the bell rang. And I kept throwing punches. And eventually I opened my eyes and everybody was gone. And I look at that as a victory. You know, you gotta take it where you can get it. And even growing up, like in bars and stuff, I better talk my way out of shit. Like literally, my kryptonite is if you don't buy my bullshit. That's what it is. End of that whole thing. I don't know. I'm not much into bars anymore. I stopped drinking. I actually quit drinking in Waikiki. It's a tough place to quit drinking. There's nothing else to do but drink. You know, and it's like happy hour, 24 hours. You literally can leave one happy hour. Our happy hour is from 4 to 5. You leave one, go across the street. Ours is from 5 to 6. You go across the street. Ours is from 6 to 7. You can be on dollar drinks 24 hours a day if you do it right. And I'm like, no, I'm going to quit drinking. Everybody I knew was either a bartender or a waitress. I was the loneliest guy in Waikiki going, gotta find a friend. Started hanging out with the guy that played Roy Orbison at the Stars show. You know, I remember seeing him one night when I was before I stopped drinking, I was just drunk as hell. And I see Roy Orbison out there in Waikiki. I'm like, you're dead, dude. I don't know what else to say to him. I went to there was a panel for The Walking Dead. Do you guys, anybody watch The Walking Dead here? Not a damn one of you. Nobody even cares. I love it. Zombies, man, it's my show. Some of the best writing on TV too. If you get a chance, tune in. You'll love it. But and they just brought back Lenny James for an episode. It's been great. Anyway, but there's this thing now that they're doing around the country because this is so popular. They're doing zombie runs. Have you heard of this?
Oh, yeah.
And people dress up like zombies and then they get a bunch of nerds and stoners to go run 2.5 miles. Yeah, a bunch of nerds and stoners and run. Yeah, it is a zombie one. It's like, dude, what I learned is I am going to get eaten in the first day. I do not have a chance. I can't run. The 2.5 miles, they're like 2.5 miles. I'm like, how far have I gone? They're like 11 feet. I'm like, no. How much further is it? Not good at the running. I'm telling you, if the zombie apocalypse comes, I'm holding up in a pot shop. Because they got edibles, they got weed, they got water, I'm sure. They must have something to grow the pot. That's where I'm going to hold up. I'm just going to be done right there. The fuck do I need to wait for the zombie apocalypse? I'm just going to go to a pot shop and just start hanging out. It's happening. I don't know, man. Something's coming. I don't know what it is. I'm just Wouldn't that be funny? Just show up and start hanging out someplace. They don't know who you are. How much longer I have up here? Oh, I can't see that from here. Man, I need some glasses or something. 3 minutes. I got 3 whole minutes. Okay, let me do some more brain stuff. Let's see. I don't know. You guys already know I'm a Jew. I've told you that stuff. What don't you know about me? I'm trying to think. There's got to be something. Oh, you know what? I have a very angry friend that lives in Waikiki. Actually, he lives on the Big Island now, apparently. But his name is Rick Crapser. A very unique name. And he's angry because his last name is Crapser. Come on, that would piss you off, you know? And so he's one of those guys, I actually heard him yelling at his girlfriend once, and he said, I'll suck a dick before I fuck you again. And then the next time I saw them together, I'm like, dude, you keep your end of the bargain? But I just read, literally, I'm looking, I always look up Hawaii news because I just missed the place. And I'm looking up in Star Bulletin, and it says, Richard Crapser was arrested for firing a gun at the State Beach Park. I'm like, dude, I'm so glad he didn't call me for bail. I don't know money. Spent it all on my suit. I'm like, I ain't no money. I actually had a friend of mine that got arrested once. He left a party that we were throwing, and I was a little concerned because he got busted on the way home. So I called up, the LAPD. I'm like, you got a friend of mine? How much is it to get him out? And they were like, $1,200. I'm like, ooh, you can keep him. I don't need no friends like that. All right. Yeah, there's not a friend in the world that I want that bad for $1,200. I'll go find a new friend. Easy. And did you say there was the last thing here? There was the thing in the news from last year that they actually made it legal. The court ruled that it's legal to flip the police off.
Really?
And apparently, I don't know how they're going to rule on the bruises that you get afterwards, but I'm not going to try that. I wave to the cops. Hi. Hello, police officer. I don't want to be. Why would you flip a cop off? What would constitute a point where you're like, this is going to work out great for me? No, man. Be nice to the cops. They have guns. And if they're LAPD, they will shoot you for no reason. So anyway, thank you guys. You have a good night. Don't